taking Paul's class on 3D Python, and he asked us to share our work on making a thermometer. I thought I'd share what I've done. Uh, it's I took a deeper dive than probably I needed to into doing this, but it's very fascinating what all VPython can do. So as you can see, I put my thermometer in a cup or a bowl of water like it's on a stove or something. So we got water in the cup and the thermometer. I also added a slider bar to it so that we can adjust the temperature. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So I was able to use the 3D text to make the temperature gradient on the outside of the thermometer, and you can see it's 3D. That's kind of cool. But so like I said, it's going to be fun when you can hook this up to an actual project. But I thought it'd be kind of cool I had this much done. I said, well, let's make it a little bit better. So I made it so that when you lower the temperature down to freezing, that our water turned white. So it is like it's frozen. Yeah, I got that done. I said, well, what else can I do? So I decided to have it so when it gets up to 100 or C, so it's boiling, I made some bubbles in the water. So that's kind of fun too. So hopefully it's been a very good learning process, and hopefully we continue to learn more and learn how to attach this to our Arduinos in the future. My code ended up being about 44 lines of code. Like I said, most of it's what Paul was talking about with making the tubes, the cylinders and the spheres and everything. So pretty much this part of it is just what we learned from Paul. I found out how to put a slider in it. So that part's putting the slider on our thing so we can have a interactive adjustment on that. And the pot part, well, here's the line for the graduated cylinder. I mean, the graduation, the temperature numbers. So this, you do this line break here and that makes them, have a line break in between them. So you get vertical numbers. That was kind of fun. And like I said, here's the pot. We designed the pot as a extrusion. So that's something else that was a little new. Had to learn how to do that. That worked out well. And then the pot bottom is just a thin cylinder to fill the bottom up. And then the water is just a cylinder with a opacity of 0.5 and the color of blue. So it looks a little like water. And then, like I said, for the ice, I just changed the color to white and opacity to 1. And that made the ice. For the bubbles, I decided, well, there's lots of ways to do this, but I just made 25 bubbles using a for loop to make 25 bubbles. And it was kind of interesting. I'm not going to go into the math, but to get them to be inside the pot took a little bit of thinking and a lot of reading to figure that out. And, but think it's working okay for what I need. I got this print bubbles, just a couple debug statements in there. So got that going on. And then, like I said, while true, we're just checking to see if the slider is at 100 degrees Celsius or whether the And if it is, then we do the bubbles. We just randomly choose whether the bubbles are visible or invisible. That way it looks like that they're coming up and popping. And same way down here, if the temperature gets down below it. This number here and this number here is just their, like say, x-axis, y values. And I probably should have, Paul probably going to yell at me for not turn them into real numbers, but that's just like where the 100 mark is when the red's at 18.5 on the y-axis. That's where the 100 mark is, and that's where the red is. So I just used that. I could have converted it to 100 and did that, all that, but I decided not to. Same way to 3.3 is when you get to 0, 3.3 y-axis, red length is there. Anyhow, so that's my show, and looking forward to learning more from Paul.